These guys reached football's biggest stage, Super Bowls, millions, fame. Then they lost everything. Mike Webster slept in his truck with 4 rings to his name. Jackie Wallace found under a New Orleans bridge. Joe Gilliam sold his rings for his next fix. These are NFL stars who had nowhere to sleep. Starting with Mike Webster. Here's a guy who spent 17 seasons getting his head bashed in as one of the toughest centers the NFL has ever seen. 4 Super Bowl wins with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hall of Fame career. They called him Iron Mike because the man simply would not go down. But all those hits, they added up in ways nobody understood back then. After he hung up the cleats, his brain started betraying him. CTE from concussions caused dementia post-retirement. The same mind that memorized complex playbooks couldn't hold on to basic thoughts anymore. His marriage fell apart, his money disappeared, and eventually, this Hall of Famer ended up living in his pickup truck. Friends tried reaching out, tried to get him help, but Mike kept pushing everyone away. He passed in 2002 from heart failure, but his brain ended up changing everything. Doctors studied it and finally proved what football does to the mind. His family took the NFL to court and won. Iron Mike gave everything to the game. Turns out the game took everything right back. Speaking of guys who gave it all on the field, wait until you hear what happened to this next legend, Jackie Wallace. Picture this, a cornerback who played in 3 Super Bowls for the Minnesota Vikings and Los Angeles Rams during the 1970s. Jackie Wallace earned around $400,000 over 7 seasons, which was solid money back in those days. But Jackie lived like the checks would never stop coming. No savings, no plan, just good times. When the career ended, alcohol became his new teammate. Then crack cocaine showed up and took over completely. He bounced around working random jobs, even spent time on an oil rig trying to get himself together. Didn't work. In 1990, someone found Jackie Wallace, 3-time Super Bowl participant, homeless under a bridge in New Orleans, eating whatever scraps he could find. A photographer stumbled upon him and helped him get sober for a bit, even got him a place to stay. But addiction doesn't quit that easy. Jackie relapsed, got arrested for writing bad checks, and kept falling down. By 2008, he was surviving on a tiny NFL pension. Then in 2017, he disappeared after another relapse. Nobody knows where he ended up. And Jackie wasn't the only one who found out that addiction doesn't care about your highlight reel. Joe Gilliam. They called him Jefferson Street Joe, and he did something almost unthinkable for his era. He became a starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1970s as a black man when that just didn't happen. Joe won 2 Super Bowls and even started over Terry Bradshaw for a stretch. The guy had arm talent that made coaches' jaws drop, but the league wasn't ready for him, and controversy followed everywhere. He got benched, and that's when cocaine entered the picture. By 1975, his NFL career was done. The addiction got so bad that Joe sold both of his Super Bowl rings just to buy more drugs. Think about that for a second. Championship jewelry traded for powder. Through the 1980s, he lived under bridges in Nashville, completely unrecognizable from the phenom who once commanded NFL offenses. A brutal beating in 1980 left him with serious head injuries on top of everything else. Rehab attempts came and went, but nothing stuck. Joe died in 2000 at just 49 years old from a heart attack. His family still remembers him as one of the most talented quarterbacks who never got a fair shot. Mental illness destroyed the next guy's life, but his story actually helped change how we talk about these issues. Lionel Aldridge. 2 Super Bowl rings with the Green Bay Packers under the legendary Vince Lombardi. Lionel Aldridge was a dominant defensive end throughout the 1960s who absolutely terrorized opposing quarterbacks. After retiring in 1973, he transitioned into broadcasting and seemed to have the perfect post-career setup as a sports analyst in Milwaukee. Then something went terribly wrong. Paranoid schizophrenia crept in during the late 1970s, bringing hallucinations and delusions that made normal life impossible. His wife left. He lost his broadcasting job. Lionel ended up drifting homeless through multiple states, including Utah, with no idea where he was half the time. The voices in his head controlled everything. Eventually, he got proper treatment in the 1980s and stabilized enough to become an advocate for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. He spent his remaining years helping others understand that mental illness isn't a character flaw. Lionel passed away in 1998, but his advocacy work lives on. Brain injuries ruined Lionel's mind from the inside. This next player's story sounds almost identical. Terry Tautolo. 9 NFL seasons as a linebacker, including time with the Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers during a Super Bowl run. Terry Tautolo made history as one of the first Samoans ever drafted into the league. But those 9 years came with a price tag nobody warned him about. Multiple concussions that scrambled his brain permanently. By 1983, doctors basically told him his mind couldn't handle any more punishment, forcing him into early retirement. What followed was a nightmare. Marriages fell apart one after another. Methamphetamine addiction grabbed hold hold and wouldn't let go. This former NFL linebacker ended up living in a tunnel underneath a Los Angeles freeway, surviving day to day with nothing. Friends and family tried pulling him out over the years, but addiction had its hooks in deep. The breakthrough finally came around 2014 when Terry got into a recovery house in Santa Monica and achieved sobriety. Now, he speaks out about player health and what this game really does to people's bodies and brains. His story shows that CTE doesn't wait for retirement to start ruining lives. Not everyone bounced back like Terry did. This next guy's ending hits different. Randy Johnson. First-round draft pick for the Atlanta Falcons back in 1966. Not the baseball pitcher, this Randy Johnson was a quarterback who played for multiple teams over a solid decade in the league. His career stats were nothing special, and his earnings were modest compared to today's contracts. After football ended, alcoholism slowly isolated him from everyone who cared. His marriage crumbled. Every business idea he chased failed and drained whatever savings remained. Randy spent his final years bouncing between shelters and halfway houses, completely alone. When he died in 2009, they found him by himself with nothing but some old playing cards as keepsakes from better days. No foul play, just a man who lost everything and everyone. His kids survived him, but by the end, the connection was gone. Loneliness is what killed Randy Johnson way before his heart actually stopped. From a first-round pick to a guy who barely made the roster, the fall can happen to anyone. Chris Brymer. Star player at USC who worked his way onto the Dallas Cowboys roster in the early 2000s. Chris Brymer went undrafted and his NFL career barely lasted, but he had that brief taste of the dream. After football, mental health issues surfaced, possibly connected to concussions, though nothing was ever confirmed. By 2016, Chris was homeless in Apple Valley, living on the streets far from any stadium lights. Small arrests started piling up for minor stuff. In 2017, he got locked up for unrelated charges. His family went public begging for anyone to help their loved one. Last anyone heard, Chris was trying to piece things back together after getting out, but nobody really knows where he ended up. College hero to NFL roster to homeless in less than 2 decades. At least Chris made an NFL roster. This next guy never even got that chance, and it still wrecked him. Carlos Snow. Ohio State legend who rushed for over 2,900 yards and looked destined for greatness. The Minnesota Vikings drafted Carlos Snow, but injuries destroyed any shot at an NFL career before it started. He never played a single professional down. Without football, addiction filled the void. Jobs came and went. Family relationships crumbled. Attempts at coaching younger players fizzled out. By 2019, Carlos was living out of his car in Columbus, Ohio, the same city where fans once cheered his name on Saturdays. Mental health struggles made everything harder. Through it all, he leaned on faith to keep pushing forward. His story shows that even getting drafted doesn't guarantee anything. An unfulfilled potential might be the cruelest outcome of all. What do you guys think? Which of these stories shocked you the most? Drop a comment below and let us know. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.